Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudirayet
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Ruttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtuki.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Verse 8. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Verse 8. Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kritvānukramya Chatmacham
Kritvānukramya Chatmajam
Sukham Adhyapayamasa
Sukham Madhyapayamasa
Nivritti Niratam Muni
Nivritti Niratam Muni
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kritvānukramya Chatmacham
Kritvānukramya Chatmajam
Sukham Adhyapayamasa
Sukham Madhyapayamasa
Nivritti Niratam Muni
Nivritti Niratam Muni.
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kritvānukramya Chatmacham
Kritvānukramya Chatmajam
Sukham Adhyapayamasa
Sukham Madhyapayamasa
Nivritti Niratam Muni.
Nivritti Niratam Muni.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Right.
Synonyms. So that Samhitam Vedic literature.
Samhitam Vedic literature.
Bhagavati in relation with the personality of Godhead.
Bhagavati in relation with the personality of Godhead.
Kritva having done.
Kritva having done.
Anukramya by correction and repetition.
Anukramya by correction and repetition.
Cha and Atmajam his own son.
Atmajam his own son.
Sukham Sukadeva Goswami.
Sukham Sukadeva Goswami.
Adhyapayamasa taught.
Adhyapayamasa taught.
Nivritti, path of self-realization.
Nivritti, path of self-realization.
Niratham, engaged.
Niratham, engaged.
Muni, the sage.
Muni, the sage.
Translation, please repeat after me. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it,
After compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it,
taught it to his own son, Sri Sukadeva Goswami,
taught it to his own son, Sri Sukadev Goswami,
who was already engaged in self-realization.
who was already engaged in self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentation on the Brahma Sutras compiled by the same author. This Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra is meant for those who are already engaged in self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam is so made that one becomes at once engaged in the path of self-realization simply by hearing the topics. Although it is especially meant for the Paramhamsas or those who are totally engaged in self-realization, it works into the depths of the hearts of those who may be worldly men. Worldly men are all engaged in sense gratification, but even such men will find in this Vedic literature a remedial measure for their material diseases. Shukadev Goswami was a liberated soul from the very beginning of his birth, and his father taught him Srimad Bhagavatam. Amongst mundane scholars, there is some diversity of opinion as to the date of compilation of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is, however, certain from the text of the Bhagavatam that it was compiled before the disappearance of King Parikshit and after the departure of Lord Krishna. When Maharaj Parikshit was ruling the world as the king of Bharatavarsha, he chastised the personality of Kali. According to revealed scriptures and astrological calculation, the age of Kali is in its 5,000 year. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled not less than 5,000 years ago. Mahabharata was compiled before Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas were compiled before Mahabharata. That is an estimation of the date of compilation of the different Vedic literatures. The synopsis of Srimad Bhagavatam was given before the detailed description under instruction of Narada. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science for following the path of Nivritti Marg. The path of Pravritti Marg was condemned by Narada. That path is a natural inclination for all conditioned souls. The theme of Srimad Bhagavatam is the cure of the materialistic disease of the human being, or stopping completely the pangs of material existence.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jaya Pataka Swamin Iti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradayine Gaura Kata Damadhaya Nagara Grama Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavade Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Yadavaya Namah Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langayate Girim Yat Kripata Mahamande Sri Gurum Dinatharinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Meshwaram Hari Om Tat Sat Sasamhitham Bhagavatim Kritvanukramya Chatmacham Shukam Adhyapayam Asa Nivritti Niratham Muni. So, Srila Vyasadeva, upon the order of Narad Muni, has compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam as the commentary on the Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra. Now, the Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra is only applicable to the person who are in the path of self-realization. And then what to speak of the commentary on such Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra? However, being a transcendental literature and represents 100% the absolute truth, Lord Krishna, this Srimad Bhagavatam is not conditioned that it can only be applicable to the Paramahamsas or those who are self-realized. Although it is applicable to them mainly, anyone like worldly men, the karmi, those who are after sense gratification, those who are in the ignorance, thinking oneself, identifying oneself with the gross body or subtle mind, even to that person, if they take to this culture of Srimad Bhagavatam, automatically they will be placed in the path of self-realization. This is the beauty and the difference of Srimad Bhagavatam from any other literature, including Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. So this is very important. This Samhita, you can see that Samhita means Vedic literature, Bhagavatam means in relation with the personality. So the Vedic literature, that literature which is in relation with the personality of God. That means only the pastime narration of Krishna. This Vedic literature, Samhitam. So Samhita means Vedic literature. So there are many fools and rascals that they say Bhagavata was not written by Vyasadeva, it is by some Gopadeva and so on and so forth. So, like that, Mayavadis also, Nirviseshavadi also. So, this kind of Sankracharya, who was the guru of Mayavadi, and he also comments on Bhagavad Gita, but he could not touch Srimad Bhagavatam. You know why? Why Sankracharya, despite the leader and the guru of Mayavadi, the founder of Mayavada philosophy, he could not touch Srimad Bhagavatam? Because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the things are so nicely set up. Kritvanu anukramya. Kritva, having done anukramya by correction and repetition. So it is very nicely explained. It is not possible by even the Mayavadis to prove that God is impersonal. That is impossible. Based on Srimad Bhagavatam, you can never prove it because it is already completed by correction and repetition also, and it is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So they cannot do. So reading Bhagavatam, we should do under the bona fide spiritual master by connecting to the Acharya Parampara. That much is very essential. Otherwise, this Srila Vyasadeva, why did he teach to his son, Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who is already liberated, he is born liberated, Sukadeva Goswami. So that shows the importance of Bhagavatam, the how a particular candidate or student of Bhagavatam should be very serious that Dharma projita kaitavo atra paramo. He should be hankering to become a Paramahamsa by giving up all kind of kaitava dharma. Any occupational duty that is going to be materially motivated or that's going to yield sense gratificatory result. Completely, at least theoretically and mentally, should give up in order to, understand this Srimad Bhagavatam cult. So that is very, very important. So you should be very, very careful never to go and hear any Mayavadi speaking Bhagavatam. There are so many Mayavadis in the dress of Vaishnava. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he has explained about them. He has explained that here is a follower of Kali. Although he has got a tilaka on the nose and neck beads, but he is Kali Chela. Bhakti Vinod Thakur has warned us. So if he is Mayavadi, so Sahaja Bhajala, that is, we have to be very careful. You have come to Vrindavan or you have come to Mayapur. Mayapur, at least other than Vaishnava Aprat, no other offenses are considered. But Vrindavan, you have to be very, very careful because this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sunile Mayavadi Bhashya Hoile Sarvanasya. So there are so many Mayavadis roaming around in Vrindavan. They have Silaka, they have Kantimala. So you don't know what is there inside them. So great acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has warned us against all such kind of bogus religious leaders. And here we see in Brahma Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidimbina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpadyaiva Kalpate. Means these kind of bogus people who is wearing Kantimala and Tilaka, but with all the Mayavadi thoughts inside them fully, these people are actually creating disturbance in the society. Because Srimad Bhagavatam does not require any criteria. It's a natural commentation on the Brahma Sutra and compiled by the same author. And whom it is eligible. Srimad Bhagavatam is so made that one becomes at once engaged in the path of self-realization simply by hearing the topics. You just see, there is no qualification required. There is no criteria. Unlike Brahma Sutra, which is actually required to be studied by only self-realized person or the person who is in the path of self-realized. But this Srimad Bhagavatam can be studied by everyone, the conditioned karmi and the jnanis and any kind of yogis and the self-realized soul and those who are in the path of self-realized soul. To everybody it is applicable. This is the beauty of Acharya when they give us. Not one soul is exceptional that he cannot hear Bhagavatam. Everybody, though ineligible, still it is allowed. It will work if they take part in the bona fide hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have to follow the Goswami. Goswami literature, this is. So Goswami literature, Sukadeva Goswami is the first person whom this Bhagavatam was entrusted. And who is such a Sukadeva Goswami? He is already liberated soul from very beginning of his birth. And to him, Vyasadev has taught this Srimad Bhagavatam. So we need to be very careful when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. From whom are we hearing? With whom are we discussing? Because Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that the bogus guys, if they speak Bhagavatam, they are actually creating disturbance in the society. So this is very important. So Sasammitam Bhagavatam Kritvanukramya Atmacham. So it is very confidential subject matter. He taught this to Sukadeva Goswami, Atmacham, like father, like son. So there is no difference between son and disciple in the parampara. So the Vedic system is also like that, to teach the son and teach the disciple. If one cannot teach the son is disobedient. He should give up his family life. Otherwise, a father is in obligation to teach the son properly. But if it is not possible, sometimes it so happens. As the family members, they don't take care. Otherwise, Vyasadeva's son is expected to become Sukadeva Goswami. Such family connection should be given up. If it is not, Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjitam, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas it is said. So family life, it is favorable for advancing Krishna consciousness, you can accept it. And if it is pratikulya, it is against Krishna consciousness, then you should reject it. Anukulya Sankalpa and Pratikulya Varjit. So, what was the qualification of Sukadeva Goswami which induced Vyasadeva to select him as his first student of Srimad Bhagavatam or this particular Samhitam? Sukham Adhyapayam Asa Nivruti Niratam. He has no more attraction for material world. No more attraction. That is the first qualification. So, Sukadeva Goswami was selected by Vyasadeva. And Naraduni, so Sukadeva Goswami was in the Nivriti Marga. The path of Pravriti Marga was condemned by Narada. So, Vyasadeva was looking for a person who is qualified to be in the Nivriti Marga to teach this Srimad Bhagavatam. Nivriti and Pravriti. Pravriti means materialistic. That is why it is condemned by Narada. Karmis. So generally karmis, they have got tendency to enjoy this material world. So it is called a Pravriti Marga. Pravriti Marga. It is natural inclination. Anyone who has come to this material world, Pravriti Esha Bhutana. Everyone is in the Pravriti Marga. And what is that Pravriti Marga? Sex, meat eating, intoxication, like that. This is Pravriti Marga. Pravriti Esha Bhutana. Nivrittestu Mahaphalam. So the whole Vedic literature is there. How to make him stop this Pravriti Marga. That is a purpose. That is a whole plan. Otherwise, there are many instances. So, that is a Prabhupada is established. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Otherwise, they got the general tendency, Pravriti. So, to stop the Pravriti Marga, these regulative principles will help. This Pravriti Marga is there in the birds and beasts also. So, rather than roaming around with a two-legged animal kind of life, one has to take to the eternal Dharma, Bhagavata Dharma. So education should be in such a way that he should be in the Nivriti Marga. Then that is called Vidya. Otherwise it is Avidya. Pravritir Esha Bhutana. So these are general tendency for the conditioned soul. But if anyone can control by training, by Abhyasena to Kaunteya, Krishna says, by training, by proper education, not Avidya, proper Vidya. So then it is possible. Then it is possible he can become qualified. So Vyasadeva preferred to teach Srimad Bhagavatam to his son Sukadeva Goswami because he was Niratham. He was in the Nivriti Marga. He was engaged. So from the very beginning of his life, for 16 years actually he was in the womb of his mother. He did not come out purposefully so that he may not be materially attached. So such a small child, the baby, if it comes out from the mother's womb, within the womb, when he is in suffering, he prays to God, oh, this time kindly release me. Now I shall begin Bhagavata Bhajana. One who is little advanced in his previous life. It's very terrible condition within the womb of the mother. We have forgotten. But we can imagine if you are packed up in a bag and put hand and legs tightly knotted. Just imagine, you cannot live even for 3 minutes here. If you are airtight packed up like that, that is how we are put in the womb of the mother. We cannot exist more than 3 minutes actually. But we existed by the mercy of Krishna, only by the mercy. That is also nowadays very dangerous. In that packed condition, he is there. He is already suffering. And the mother is planning to go to the doctor and kill the child. Abortion. Just imagine how precarious condition in the womb of the mother. And if we don't try in this life, that I shall not again enter into the womb of another mother. Then what is the value of this life? We have to learn it from the Shastra. You cannot see actually. But the medical science explains that a child is placed in this way. In Bhagavata also it is stated how the child grows his body, how it is put into that precarious condition. So one should be senseful. There's so much suffering awaiting. Tatha dehantara praptis. Krishna says, you have to accept another body. Not that death is finishing. No. They made it a very easy formula that after death, everything is finished. Because they are fools. They don't take lesson from Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. You have to change your body. But these fools, they don't know what kind of body I am going to get, how the body is going to be changed. I don't care. Go on. Muda. Janmani, Janmani. Life after life. Muda Yonishu. They don't even try to understand where from so many varieties of life are coming. Jalaja Navalakshani Stavara Lakshavim Sati. Still, they are passing on as scientists. What science is this? It is only ignorance, avidya. If you have to study science, you have to take it from Krishna. Krishna said, Tata dehantra prapti. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. According to your guna, you are creating your next body. Just like according to the infection of a certain disease, you are creating your future diseased condition. Similarly, sattvagun, rajogun, tamogun, they are the three kinds of the modes of material nature infecting you. And as you associate with the three kinds of material nature, according to the propensity of infection that you take from a particular guna, you prepare your next body. That is also explained in Bhagavad Gita, Urdhva gachanti sattvastha. If you associate with Sattva Gun, then you are promoted to the higher planetary system, Janaloka, Maharloka, Tapoloka. But these fools, they don't know. Still, they make an estimate. And what is that estimate? Wherever they go, they find only rocks and sands. That's all. There are so many lokas. Each loka is full of living entities. And these fools, they are simply taking photograph of rocks and sands. Just see their position. This is scientists, astrologists, astronomists. And they are passing on as scientists. How misleading these things are. So Kali Yuga is very precarious condition. No knowledge. Only ignorance in the name of education. No nivritti marga. Everyone is in the pravritti. So whatever their condition may be, but if you want actually freedom from this material condition of life, then you should follow Acharya. Acharyavan Purusha. Acharya Pashanam. Krishna is personally acting as Acharya. He is coming again as Acharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago, the same Krishna has come as again Acharya in our parampara. He is the direct guru of all the 6 Goswamis and many others. So he has got so many representatives. Sri Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarga, so many parampara he has created. So many acharyas. Evam parampara praptam, he says in Bhagavad Gita. So take lesson from the bona fide spiritual master. Sukadeva Goswami is an acharya, is a bona fide spiritual master. Vyasadeva is an acharya, is a bona fide spiritual master. And Narad Muni is his guru. So he's making the next acharya by teaching him. So Narad Muni has made Vyasadeva as an acharya in the science of Krishna. Science of Krishna means Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And Srila Vyasadeva has created the next disciple in the acharya parampara, Sukadeva Goswami. So that he is becoming Acharya. So we have to go through the Acharya parampara, evam parampara praptam, as Krishna said. So in the previous verse, yesterday also we saw Yasyam vai sruyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsa shokamoha bayapaha. This is wanted. We are always perplexed with shoka, moha and baya. Shantha Gopi said yesterday, these 3 things. Shoka, moha, baya. These 3 things. If you want to get out of it, then you must read Srimad Bhagavatam. You must read Srimad Bhagavatam. If you say that I am uneducated, illiterate, I cannot read, there is no need of reading. Hear it. Yasyam vai sruyamanayam. Simply hearing the oral reception you give to the Srimad Bhagavatam. The previous verse, it is very clearly mentioned. Simply hear, but hear from the right person, Sukadeva Goswami, or the representative of Sukadeva Goswami, or the follower of the representative, not rascals and professionals, then it will be useless. Why? Anyone knows some grammar or little literary education? Sukadeva Goswami had no opportunity to go to school at all. Sukadeva Goswami, as soon as he took birth, after 16 years keeping himself within the womb of the mother, immediately left home. So where is the possibility of taking education? He was given instruction while he was in the womb of his mother. So these things are sometimes inconceivable. But it is not inconceivable. It is possible. Our real point is that Sukadeva Goswami was not a grammarian, but he learned everything from his father by hearing oral reception. Therefore, it is called Sruyamanaya, oral reception. If you hear from the right person properly, Srabdo Hridaya Vrudyate Yatra Kritabihi, there is no need of literary education. So Vedas are called Sruti, Smriti, Purana. So Sruti means what? The students, they were learning everything. How? Their memory was so nice and sharp that simply by oral reception from Guru's mouth, they would learn it. But in the Kali Yuga, because Manda Sumanda Mata, Yo Manda Bhakya Shivapatrata, because the memory is not so strong, Vyasadeva, that is why he has recorded this in writing. Otherwise, we would not be receiving this now. Because the memory is very poor. They cannot remember, they cannot repeat. So, Vyasadeva has put in the writing that the rascals will come henceforward in the future of Kali Yuga and they will have not very sharp brain. Vyasadeva knows it. So, let me keep this literature in writing so that in future they may take advantage of it. Somebody will read and they will hear it at least. In this way, their life will be successful. This is mercy. Mercy of Vyasadeva. So, Sukadeva Goswami is the next Acharya after the Vyasadeva. But one has to learn from the original Acharya, Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Vrajeshwar Viduhu. So, unless we come to the Parampara system, unless you get initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, there is no right education. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's private secretary, personal secretary, Swarup Damodar Goswami, he advised Bhagavat Paraghiya Bhagavat Sthani. If you want to learn Srimad Bhagavatam, you go to a person Bhagavata, whose life is Bhagavatam. Granda Bhagavata and person Bhagavata, both of them are Bhagavatas. So Bhagavat Paraghiya Bhagavat Sthani. One whose life is Bhagavatam and nothing else. You should learn Bhagavatam from that person, not from the professional reciter who is earning livelihood by reading or reciting Srimad Bhagavatam especially. And that will not be effective at all. You have to find out like Sukadeva Goswami or the representative of the Sukadeva Goswami. Then the study of Srimad Bhagavatam will be effective. Thank you very much. So, Shantha, Gopi, you want to add anything or any questions or comments or realization? Please share with us.
Haribol.
Haribol.
I have some doubts. I will call you back. Now I'm going to school. After I will call you. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So thank you very much for the association, and we will start sharp at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord congregationally and followed by Srimad Bhagavatam class. Grandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Patita Pavan Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavad Satsang ki jai.
Jai Jai.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha
Jai
kripa
Sitaji.
sindhubhyascha
Vayuja. Patpatitanam.
Vaishnayo namo